The Chiefs have tagged Trey Smith. They're pretty serious about protecting Patrick Mahomes. Let's talk about it.
You're listening to All Chiefed Up.
Chiefs Kingdom, what's going on? What's going on? Had to jump on. I'm sure you guys have seen the news. If you haven't, here it is. We got a message at 2:10 from our boy Jordan Schultz, NFL insider. He says that the Chiefs will be placing the franchise tag on Pro Bowler guard Trey Smith. Sources tell NFL on Fox. The goal is to still work out a long-term deal, but for now, the tag ensures he stays in Kansas City. Negotiations will continue. And by the way, we're hearing a lot of misinformation on this. I want to say it was just this week we heard that the Chiefs were not planning. We're not planning on re-signing, not re-signing, but not tagging Trey Smith. We also heard that they probably wasn't going to, tag Nick Bolton. So I feel like a lot of misinformation going around right now. So it's tough to just trust whatever you see or read. It needs to be, pen to paper, Brett Veach. That's the way it works. So right now it looks like they are going to tag Trey Smith. And I think this is something they have to do. They have to do it because here's the thing. Do I think he should get paid top dollar 100%? 1,000% yes, he should get paid top dollar. Can the Chiefs afford to do that? It remains to be seen what we can work out with him. But at least this gives us an opportunity to price match. It gives us an opportunity. And I think this is the best we can do. This gives us a little more time to maybe negotiate a Jawan Taylor restructure. This gives us maybe a little time to maybe settle up something with Tooney. There's several things they can do here. But I think Trey Smith deserves to be paid. Whether the Chiefs can actually get it done or not remains to be seen. But this looks like Brett Veach is making a concerted effort to try to keep the interior of the line together and to try to keep Patrick Mahomes upright. And again, Trey Smith is a good pass blocker. He's a better run blocker than a pass blocker. But I don't even think he gave up an entire sack last season. Like, he didn't even give up a sack throughout the whole season, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to check the stats in just a minute. Stats, I'm looking at the stats. He didn't give up a sack last year, according to PFF, I don't think. So it's one of those things where Brett Veach has to make this effort because, number one, we've seen back in the Super Bowl versus the Bucs, the offensive line became a problem. Brett Veach invested in it. You got it rebuilt back. He put some stop gaps in place. He tried this, he tried that. It came together. We went on another nice run, and then right back to the same problems in this Super Bowl versus the Eagles. And so he has to, he at least has to make it look as though he is not abandoning the offensive line in this time. Now, does that mean that he will re-sign Trey Smith? Will they get this done? I think that with this franchise tag, I do believe that now it flips in the favor of the Chiefs are going to get this done, in my opinion. Could there be a tag and trade option? You never say never here with Brett Veach. A lot of people didn't think that was going to happen last year with L'Jarius Sneed. We kept trying to tell people, I felt like L'Jarius Sneed was the tag and trade. This is what they were going to do. I don't get any indications that that's what they're planning on doing right now with Trey Smith. But I will say that it is an option on the table, and you can't take nothing off the table. I think Trey Smith will work with us, but I don't think Trey Smith's going to take any kind of a hometown discount, anything like that. Trey Smith was drafted late in the draft because of a medical concern. He's been a stout run blocker. He's mean. He's fierce. He's better than average in the pass block game. Guard is a sought-after position, and here lately it's been overpaid. And so that's what's created this little bit of a mess with Trey Smith. Maybe in hindsight, the Chiefs could have looked into re-signing him maybe a couple years ago, getting that restructure going, but can't really dig that far back into it with that kind of stuff. So Brett Veach is doing what he's got to do, because if he was to not even negotiate with Trey Smith, or at least from the general public, he wasn't making a concerted effort to bring him back, and then Trey Smith walks and the offensive line just doesn't look good again next year, then everybody's going to be like, look, Brett Veach is just abandoning Mahomes. It's like pulling teeth to get Patrick Mahomes some playmakers, and now he's just will not get this offensive line together. So I do believe they're going to make a 1,000% effort to get Trey Smith locked up. I think Trey Smith's good. He's a good leader in the locker room. He's good off the field. Him and Creed Humphrey, they have this bond, man. And I don't think they want to break that up. Also with Tooney, I think Tooney's right there with him. I think they'll try to get this done. I really do. But what's this mean if they can't get a long-term deal reached? So this is what it means. Kansas City would have to pay him $23.4 million for the 2025 season, says insider Ian Rappaport, if they do not get a long-term deal reached. And so it's $23.4 million. Now, something tells me that if he signs, it's not going to be for $23.4 million. So it's on Brett Veach to get this done. I don't know what Trey Smith's actually going to want. I don't know what he's gonna say. Let me bring up Trey Smith. Let me bring up the over the cap evaluation on him, and let's see what they're saying that Trey Smith probably deserves. I'll bring this up really quickly. His valuation is $12 million per year, is what they're saying in 2024. That seems a little bit low. No, that's right. So $12 million. It's between 11.5 and 12 million. He played over 11.5. So he played, well, I'll just say 12. He played over that $12 million throughout the regular season, weeks 1 through 17. He played over that valuation 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 17 weeks. All but 2 weeks did he play over a $6 million valuation, and all but 4 weeks did he play over an $8 million valuation. So I think he's right there between 8 and 15 million, and that probably settles it right around that 11, 12, $13 million mark. Now, what does Trey Smith's people think he's worth? Because you can go all the way back to week 9, and the cap played like a top tier guy that was getting paid $18 million a year. Like, I'm talking, that's as high as you can get. And he played well enough that game that was his evaluation after the game. Like, if he would have signed a contract right then and there, they'd have been asking for $18 million per. So I think it's going to end up settling right around that 11, 12, 13 million mark. Now, look, they've been a little high before. Last year, they said that, I want to say they said Mike Dano could probably get 15 some million a year. And we've seen that didn't really pan out. So what could he get? I'm not for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be over the $8 million mark at minimum. And then I'll say between 8 and 13. And I know that's a big gap, but it all comes down to a lot of caveats. Is Trey Smith going to maybe want to stay in Kansas City, so maybe he lets the price come down a little bit? Does he maybe want to stay with his friends? Does he want to stay with Patrick Mahomes? What's he want to do? Or does he want to just go chase it? Does the guys over him negotiating the contract, do they talk him into just taking bigger money elsewhere and being like, look, man, you're an adult, you can figure it out? So we'll have to see. So if it's somewhere around 12 million, you're looking at, what? 12, 24, 36, 48. You're looking at 4 years, 48, or 5 years, 60 mil. And, they can backload it. They can put it all in signing bonus. They've got all kinds of different stuff, So the news is they have tagged him. And we heard that he wasn't going to be tagged, but here it is. And for now, that's all we know. So if they don't get it restructured, here's again, $23.4 million, what they will have to pay him in 2025. His over the cap evaluation is technically right at 12 million. So he's almost going to make double. If he doesn't, if you don't get a deal reached with him, he could potentially make double this season. So I think now it's on Brett Veach. You've got to get the deal done. You've got to find a good number. And it's trying to figure out what that number is. So yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in with me. Trey Smith has been franchise tagged. That looks like probably now Nick Bolton. I mean, obviously Nick Bolton ain't going to get franchise tagged. You can't franchise tag 2 people. So Bolton is looking like more and more he's going to be able to hit the open market. A lot of Nick Bolton fans may not like that. There's a lot of people that don't like Nick Bolton. That they think that's replaceable. Nick Bolton's got a lot of glaring problems. They're fine with it. I think we all could kind of agree that I think Trey Smith was the more important of the two. If not by much, he was still the most important of the two. If for anything, he he just straight up protects our most valuable asset. So, until Nick Bolton can pass block, I don't know if he's as valuable as Trey Smith. But appreciate you guys being here. Let me get to the comments section here. How you guys doing? Let's see. Matt Lee says, matter of fact, Trey for Miles and a fifth. Oh, so we're trying to go after Myles Garrett with Trey Smith. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we can pay. I mean, if we can't pay Trey Smith, I don't think we can pay the other one. So, it's like that. Justin Blackwell says, looks like Veach finally listened to me. Tag him this year. Justin, he did. He was reading your ex. He was reading on YouTube. He found Justin Blackwell, and he was like, this cat right here knows what he's talking about. Tag him this year and work out a long-term deal later. You've got to work out a long-term deal this year. You can't pay Trey Smith $25 million going into this year. That's the same way we couldn't do L'Jarius Sneed last year. Too much money, and that's why they had to trade him. You've got to get a deal worked out. It's got to be worked out now. If not, he's going to get traded because I don't think they can let him play under the cap for $25 million. That's a lot. That's a lot for a guard. I can't even name a guard in the league that I feel is worth $25 million. I can't do it. Maybe like Quentin Nelson back in his prime with the Colts. I don't know. I couldn't see them paying $25 million this year for one season, knowing that they've got to do something with the left side and you've still got to mess with Tooney and all this stuff. So here's what I'd expect to happen. A little bit of a restructure, possibly for Jawan Taylor. Maybe Tooney works out something, gives us a little something. Maybe Kelce comes back to the drawing board, and I couldn't just ask them to keep Kelce. Like, Kelce is constantly taking a pay cut. I just can't see that being a thing. Maybe Chris Jones can come back and restructure some stuff. I think he'd be fine with that. We'll have to see where it goes. And, of course, Mahomes is going to, spend some of his contract off like he does every year. So it's whatever. Jay Flores says trade Trey for a top 12 left tackle. I don't know if a top tier guard would be able to would pull a top 12 left tackle. Trey Smith's probably like top 3, top 4 guards in the league. Some could argue he's first. I don't know. Left tackles are a little harder to come by than guards. I don't know if you could do that. Now why could you trade them for draft value? Ask yourself that. Maybe what could you get in a trade in a draft value? Well, right now you're sitting at the pick number 31. Trey Smith is not going to garner multiple first round picks, which is what you pretty much have to give up for a franchise tag player. At least that used to be the deal, unless you can work out something different. You're not getting multiple first. I don't even think you're getting a first round pick for Trey Smith. It's not happening. And we tried to tell you guys last year, L'Jarius Sneed wasn't getting a first round pick. Trey Smith's not going to garner a first round pick. He's not going to do it. You may be able to get a late second, early third, just like you did with Sneed. That might be as good as you can get there. So even that maybe could be pushing it when it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's that's the way it is, man. Buck and Bob Take on Chiefs podcast says, if we tagged him, it has to be that Brett Veach found somebody to trade with. That's possible. It is possible. There could be a tag and trade scenario, but I will say that they can work out a deal from here. You really can. You can work a deal out. It just depends. It depends. It's all on Veach. Veach has got to field so many players. He's got to fill so many roster spots coming in. It's tough to keep paying. And that's the downside with being good and drafting well, right? Eventually, you're going to run out of money to pay all of your good draft picks that pan out well. Or you can't go out to the free agency market and just sign. I know it feels like the Eagles have done this over the past few years, and they're doing stuff with back-ending contracts and dead money and stuff like that. So far, Brett Veach, Clark Hunt has decided they don't want to do that kind of stuff. They're not going to mess with the cap in that way. And I feel like eventually that does come back to bite you with the Eagles. Now, how quickly? Is it going to be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years down the road? Who knows? But that's the risk they're playing with that kind of stuff. I don't think Brett Veach and them are there just yet. I think they're trying to operate within the cap. They're trying to do things pretty much, I don't want to say like on the up and up, but they're wanting to do things a little bit more transparent than backloading a bunch of dead money on, paying somebody 15 years after they retired, like Darryl Strawberry or whoever. Was it Darryl Strawberry? Bobby Bonilla? One of them. They get paid to this day, like straight up. It's hilarious. Hannah with a 5-bomb. Appreciate you, Hannah. She says, Mike, I heard from a friend at the combine. This has to do with convos Veach are having with free agents. Not impressed. And this is not a tag trade. A deal will be done. Okay, so you're saying that you heard from a friend at the combine that Brett Veach has said that this is not a tag and trade thing. He's tagging them to be able to sign him. That's a very good possibility. I don't know who the sources are. So far, we can't listen to nobody. Everybody here has been wild this week, dude. Who was it that said that they wasn't even going to get tagged? Was it Nate Taylor? I'm not for sure who it was. I know Nate Taylor just wrote 39 minutes ago and said, in a surprising move, the Chiefs will place the franchise tag on right guard Trey Smith. Unlike last year with Snead, the Chiefs are tagging Smith with the intention of signing him to a multi-year deal. So he did add that to it. And I do believe that is the thing. I think they're going to try to sign him to a multi-year deal. I don't think it's a tag and trade situation. I really don't. So appreciate the 5-bomb, Hannah. I don't know who your source is, but I like them. Keep them coming. Yeah, man, we're getting ready to see the combine this week. And Brett Veach was kind of telling about that. He come out and said something about the linebackers. He didn't say jack crap about the offensive line yet. So I would say, that was pretty telling. We also got this today. Pat McAfee says that Travis Kelce confirmed his return to the Chiefs and says he can't go out like that. So this is starting to be a thing. It's starting to snowball. Travis Kelce, it does look like he's going to come back. He's going to play. He also told them that he plans on getting in the best shape of his life during this offseason because he felt that he was not in good shape last year and that he was embarrassed by the Super Bowl performance. And I can't say that I don't disagree. When I went to camp last year, Travis Kelce looked like an 87-year-old man trying to walk across the field after a 1-hour non-contact practice. I mean, I understand that he's 35 years old. I fully get that. And I understand it was the dog days of summer and camp. But he looked beaten down last year. And if you would have told me by looking at that, how that season was going to go, I probably could have been like, man, if it was anything like him trying to get off the football field after an hour non-contact practice, it's going to look rough. And it looked a little rough this year at times. Now, he still pretty much managed to get to his 1,000-yard season. I think he got to the 1,000 yards, it's give or take. I don't have these off the top of my head. I'm not a computer. But, yeah, he was pretty much there. He played well. The whole thing with Kelce and Mahomes is that the chemistry just seems off. The chemistry seemed off. They didn't have that backyard football kind of thing clicking this year. It just really didn't. And I don't know if that was from Kelce not being in as good shape, so he wasn't scramble drilling enough, if he wasn't getting open, if he wasn't working as hard to get open. I don't know if it was Mahomes with the offensive line issues or the overthinking or whatever that Brett Veach was talking about. So they got to get back on that. If they don't, then Travis Kelce's going to get in really good shape and he's going to come back and it's going to look the same. Because I'm telling you, that was the magic with the Chiefs offense, was that little bit of Kelce Mahomes that you just couldn't plan for. And it wasn't, you couldn't write it in the script. It was just that magic that was created with them just in key moments. You've seen it versus Buffalo in the 13-second game. You've seen it time and time again. And you even seen it in the last playoff run when we beat the Ravens in Baltimore to go to the Super Bowl last year. Well, not this year, but the last. And Mahomes scrambled around and flipped it over the middle. Kelce made that amazing diving catch there and extended the drive there. So, yeah, I want Kelce to come back. I want him to redeem himself. They've got to find that magic. I don't know. Maybe they need to spend more time together. I'm telling you. Maybe Mahomes has, 3 kids now, and Travis has a new woman. He's jet setting and he's doing everything. He's dancing on stage. Maybe they need to just have some bro time and go play some golf. Get the chemistry back. Get the magic back, baby. Quit hanging out with your women. You can't let a bunch of Yoko Onos out here screw it up, okay? So get back together. You can still have time with your women after the season. That's what I say. But from now on, you're each other's boyfriend. Get it together. Hold hands everywhere you go, and let's get it back, okay? That's what I want to see. Let's get it back. Let's answer a few more, then I'm going to jump off here. As you can see, Steve's not even with me today. Steve had to head out to work. On his way to work, he's like, bro, Trey Smith got tagged. Jump online, let the people know. And so I'm going to. And that's why I'm here, and I appreciate you guys being with me. Julia says, oh, yeah, it's the women's fault. It is. Julia, I'm telling you, everything in life was because a man let a woman get in the way. And that started every war. That started everything. It's everything. I don't know how to explain it anymore. And no disrespect to the ladies. It's actually the guy's idiotic fault for allowing it. Like, you've got to have boundaries. Okay. That's what I say. But, no, I'm just playing around. But anyway, yeah, Trey Smith, he got tagged, and did we all see it coming? Really? I don't think so. I didn't see it coming. I didn't think they were going to tag him. I thought there was a contract negotiation going to take place. I didn't really think they'd tag him, but now that he is tagged, I think there's probably a good 90% chance he does come back. Now, what kind of number can Brett Veach get? How good of a deal can he get out of it? If it's anywhere near that $20 million a year mark, or even at 16, 17 million a year, I don't love it. Now, look, I'm not Brett Veach. I haven't put together a dynasty, but I just don't love it at that price. I don't think Trey Smith, I love Trey Smith, but I don't think he's worth $20 million a year. I don't think Trey Smith's worth $17 million a year. I would probably cap it at about 14, and maybe if I'm generous, 15. I mean, I'm talking that's probably the most I could do. I just think we're very deep at that position. Now, are they Trey Smith capable? Not yet, but we've drafted for it. We drafted C.J. Hansen. We've got Hunter Norzad. You've got Kingsley now. They're talking about being able to move. Wanye can probably slide in there and play that and probably do a lot better than they looked at left tackle, because neither one were left tackles. They were more suited for the right side or the guard position. That's why Wanye fell to the third and Kingsley fell to the late second, almost the third, because that was the reason. The more you watched them, you felt like, hey, where we thought they could flourish at left tackle, it's going to take some time. So in the short term, they're third-round picks. And that's basically what Kingsley was too. He was taken right at the end of the second round, and we picked so late, it was basically a third-round pick. So it is what it is. I'm excited to watch the draft coming up here. Not the draft, I'm sorry. I misspoke. I'm tired. I'm excited to watch the combine coming up this weekend. Today's Thursday. They may have already started running some today. I don't know who's out there today, but they'll divide them up in position groups. I'm excited to get there. I just finished up my wide receivers. All the film now on all the wide receivers I wanted to watch, and I am slowly putting together my top 20, 25, 30 wide receivers. We'll have that for you guys pretty soon. And, of course, this is the initial ranking. Once they go through the combine, once they do their pro days, that's going to move up and down the board a little bit, but I've got the initial watch and the initial ranking there, and I've found some good guys there. But the thing is, if Brett Veach can get Hollywood Brown re-signed in the offseason, and again, now that you got Trey Smith, I don't know what's going to happen here, but if he can sign him, and you're going to get our boy Rashee Rice back. And Xavier Worthy actually turned out to be pretty good last year. I think he took all the negative connotations out. Like he gets slammed at the line. He can't get open. He's not physical. I think he made it through a full season. He was completely fine. Didn't have a lot of injuries to speak of. I don't even know if he missed any games or anything. I don't think so. Off the top of my head, I can't remember anything. So I think that he actually panned out pretty well. I think they found that little Tyreek Hill, that little Tyreek Hill element that they constantly look for, what they were looking for with Sky Moore. Now I believe what you got to do is you got to kind of find more of a possession guy, which again, they give Justin Ross back, and they don't tend to run that big X type receiver. But I think you need somebody a little bit more dynamic than the Justin Watsons of the world. And you need somebody a little more dynamic and more reliable than MVS. You still need somebody to play that position. Now, are they going to look in the draft to do that? I don't know. Could they just take another Xavier Worthy type guy? Yeah, probably, but I don't know if they'll do it in the first 2 or 3 rounds. So I don't look for wide receiver to be like a focal point early in the draft. Then again, now that Brett Veach, if he hears that, he'll just go right out and, trade up round one and take one. But that's the way it is. I think, but I've just about got the initial rankings of the wide receivers, and I found a few good ones, and there's some late day, and I don't think it's not as deep as last year's class, I don't think, but it's a decent class. So I'm excited to dig into running backs, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, corners. I think corner is going to be something the Chiefs look at. I actually think maybe linebacker. I don't know how early they look at linebacker, but defensive line, offensive line, that's always a possibility. Obviously, you got to win in the trenches, so. I appreciate you guys being here. I really do. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for me. I'm going to head out. I got to get to the chiropractor. I'm going to get my bones popped. Not to be confused with popping a bone, Blue Chew style. Okay? Not to be confused with that. So, anyways, I'm going to head out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thanks to Hannah for the 5-bomb. Appreciate you, Hannah. You guys have a good rest of your day. And if anything else breaks, you know where to find us, baby. We're going to be right here. And we're going to be talking Chiefs. So you guys have a good one. Go Chiefs.
There goes a sight from my soul.